Welcome back to the welcome back to the next chapter of the Magic Tree, Little Reads, and today we're going to be reading the next chapter of our epic book. As I mentioned before, I am a dyslexic reader, so if I make mistakes while reading, please do bear with me. I am not the greatest reader in the world, which makes me quite nervous sometimes reading these books, so do mind my reading. And if I do make mistakes, please do comment in the comments below and let me know, because a lot of the times I can't actually tell that I'm making mistakes. I might be reading certain words and it might be wrong, so do let me know if I make mistakes. Being a dyslexic reader is quite daunting for me to be reading such a heavy book. I've never read a book this heavy before, but I have been reading a couple of pages, a couple of chapters so far. So we are going to be reading today Saucepan Makes a Muddle. So we'll see what kind of muddle Saucepan get into today. So we're going to be reading this one. So let's see how it goes. Try and find the page now. Right, so we read The Land of Spells last week. So Saucepan makes a muddle. Right. Joe, Silky and Moonface were very pleased that Joe was the right way up again. It feels funny, said Joe. I feel quite giddy the right way up, after standing upside down for so long. Thank you, witch. How much is the spell? 1 piece of gold, said the witch. Moonface put his hand into his money bag. He bought a piece of gold. The witch threw it to the fire, and at once a bright golden smoke came out. She took up her knitting needles and began to knit the yellow smoke into socks she was making. I wanted a yellow pattern, she said, pleased. Your piece of gold came right out of the middle. What? Your piece of gold came just at the right moment. Gosh, this is a very magic land, isn't it? Said John, as the three of them walked out of the extraordinary shop. Fancy knitting socks out of smoke. Let's go home. Let's go home yet. Moonface, I said. Moonface, I want to see a few more things. All right, said Moonface, who wanted to explore a bit too. Come on. Come on. Okay, hey, look at the gnome who is selling a spell to make cats sing. Somebody has bought a cat. Somebody has bought a cat to him. I wonder if the spell will really work. A witch's assistant had brought along a big black cat. He handed the gnome 2 silver pieces of gold. Two silver pieces of money. The gnome took the cat on his knee. He opened his mouth and looked down it. He then took a silver whistle and blew a tune softly down the cat's pink throat. The cat swallowed once or twice and then jumped off the gnome's knee. "Will it sing now?" asked the witch assistant. "I won't go back to my witch unless it does." "It will sing whenever you stroke it," then said the gnome, turning to another customer. The witch's assistant went off with the cat following behind. Joe took hold of Moonface's arm and whispered to him, "I'm going to stroke that cat. I do want to hear if it really will sing." Moonface and Silky wanted to as well. They giggled to see Joe running softly after the big black cat, caught up with it. Then he gently stroked it. And then, what a peculiar thing! The cat stopped, lifted up his head, and sang in a very deep man's voice. "Oh, once my whiskers grew so long, I had to shave. Now I had to have a shave." Okay, so what was it again? "Oh, once my whiskers grew so long, I had to have a shave." The barber said it's not the way for whiskers to behave. "If you're not careful, my dear cat, you'll grow into a beard, and then a billy goat, then a billy goat, then a billy goat. You'll be then a billy goat you'll be, or something very weird. Oh, once my tail became so short, it hadn't got a wag." And the baker said, "Oh, whatever the baker said about the cat's short tail, nobody ever knew." The witch's assistant turned around in surprise. Then he heard the cat singing, because he knew that he didn't stroke it. Joe, he saw Joe and the others grinning away nearby, and he was very angry. "Oh dear. How dare you use up the cat singing," he said. "You wait till I tell the witch. She'll be after you. Oh dear. And you won't sing if she catches you. Quick, run," said Moonface. "Quick, run," said Moonface. "If he does fetch the witch, we'll get into trouble." So they all ran. Okay, so they all ran away fast, and soon out of sight of the cat and the assistant, they sunk down the tree, laughing. "Oh dear, that cat did sing a funny song," said Joe, swiping his ears. Swiping his ears. Wiping his eyes. Swiping his ears. What the hell did I get that from? That cat did sing a funny song," said Joe, wiping his eyes. "And what a lovely deep voice he had. Do you think its whiskers really did grow very long?" Just then 3 of them heard a loud voice coming along, chattering, chatter, chitter, rattle, battle, bash. I think that is Saucepan Man. Saucepan Man. They all cried. "He's coming up here too." And sure enough, it was Old Saucepan, grinning all over his face. He had so many kettles and saucepans on that day that nothing could Nothing could be seen of him except his face and feet. "Hello, hello," he said. I guessed you were up here. Been, I guessed you were up here. Been having fun?" "Yes," said Joe. "I'm all right again. Look, it's so nice to walk proper way up again. Oh, Saucepan. Will just heard a cat sing." Saucepan actually heard that Joe said what Saucepan actually heard what Joe said, but he didn't believe that they had heard right. So he put his hand behind his ears and said, "What did you say?" "I thought you said you heard a cat sing. But I heard wrong, I know." "No, you heard right," said Moonface. "We did hear a cat sing." "Let's go and explore a bit more," said John. So they got up and off. So they got up and went off. A witch was selling a spell to make ordinary broomsticks fly through the air. The four of them watched in amazement as they all rubbed a pink ointment on a broomstick and a broom handle belonging to an elf. "Now get on it," they whizzed away, "and you can fly home," said the witch. The elf sat aside the broomstick, a smile on her pretty face. "Whiz away," she said, and off whizzed the broomstick up in the air with the elf clinging tightly to it. "I'd like to buy that spell," said John. "I wonder how much it is." The witch heard him. "3 silver pieces," she said. Joe hasn't even got one, but Moonface had. He took them out of his money bag and he gave them to the witch. "Where's your broomstick?" she said. "We haven't got Where's your broomstick?" she said. "We haven't got one with us," said Joe. "But can't you give us the ointment instead, please?" I'll give you a little. Well, I'll give you just a little," said the witch. She took a tiny pink jar and put a dab of the pink ointment into it. Joe took it and put it in his pocket. Now maybe his mother's broomstick would learn to fly. At the next stall was selling a spell to make things big. The spell had big cans and looked like paint. "Just think what a useful spell it is," yelled the goblin to the passersby. Have you got visitors coming for dinner and only a small cake for them? A dab of this spell and the cake swelled twice its size. Have you got a suit you have grown out of? A dab of this spell and you'll grow right back and it'll go right to your size. Miraculous. Wonderful, amazing, astonishing. Bye. Bye. While you've got the chance. Saucepan had all heard that the goblin said. As he was shouting at the top of his voice, he began to look in his kettle and saucepan. He began to look in his kettle and saucepans. "What do you want?" asked Joe. "My money," said Saucepan Man. "I always put them in one of my kettles or saucepans, but I never remember which one. I simply must buy that spell. I think how useful it would be to me. Sometimes when I go round selling my goods to customers, customers will say to me, "Oh, haven't you got a bigger kettle?" But now I shall be able to make my kettles as big as I like, and we can dab the pop cakes with the spell too, and make them twice as big. I found the money at last, and paid it to the goblin, who handed him a can of spells. Saucepan was very pleased. He longed to try it out on something. He took the brush and dabbed a daisy nearby with the spell. The daisy at once grew to twice its size. Then Saucepan dabbed a bumblebee, and that grew enormous. It buzzed around Moonface and he waved it away. Saucepan didn't want more bees, he begged. "I expect their wings are twice as big too. Look, let's go, let's go to that store over there and buy some treats. It would be fun to make them twice as big." They hurried to the shop, but on the way a dreadful thing happened. Saucepan fell over one of his kettles and upset the can which had the spell in it. It splashed up and dropped as if it fell on to Moonface and Silky and John, and the old Saucepan Man too. And in a moment they all shot up twice as size. Silky grew to 3 times her size because more drops fell on her. They stared at one another. How small the land of spells suddenly seemed. How little the witches and goblins looked. How tiny the shops were. Saucepan, you really are careless, cried Moonface angrily. Oh dear. Look what you have done to us. Now what are we going to do? Silky clutched hold of Moonface's arm. "Moonface," she said. "Oh, Moonface, do you think we are too big to go down the hole through the clouds?" Moonface turned pale. "Better go and see," he said. "Come on, everybody." Frightened and silent, all 4 of them hurried to where the hole led down to the faraway tree. How little it seemed to the 4 big friends. How little it seemed to the 4 big people now. Moonface cried to get down, tried to get down. He stuck. He couldn't slip down at all. "There's no use," he said. "We're too big to go down. Whatever shall we do?" Oh dear, that wasn't very clever. Saucepan Man has put them all in a pickle now. So that's the muddle. Oh dear. So they are all stuck in land of spells now. Oh dear. Saucepan Man has made a big mistake now. Oh dear. Oh, what a pickle that was now. Oh dear. Okay, so curiouser and curiouser now. So let's see what happens to all of them. Now they are stuck in land of spells now. Poor folk now. So they all are stuck. So we shall be back soon to find out how the friends are going to get out of the topsy-turvy land and how they're going to get themselves fixed. We shall see. Right, so we are going to be off now, and I will be back shortly with the next story, and we'll see how they get themselves back the right way up again. Anyway, Have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.